Good morning. As a former student of the Weiss School, I'm not just grateful to be here, I'm so grateful for the education I was able to receive. The opportunities, dreams, and possibilities you can have here are endless. But unfortunately, all of the compliments we can attribute to this school can't be said for our education system as a whole. Our leaders lack the ability to create and innovate new ways to include every single student across the country. Today, I hope to take you on a journey of analyzing the past, present, and even future of STEM to see how our leaders can ensure that the steam engine of innovation gets back on track. So first, let's analyze the present STEM problem. The Bureau of Labor Statistics explains that every year there are 600,000 STEM jobs that are left unfilled. That means we simply don't have enough people going in the field and applying for these positions. I find it appalling that the industry creating 5G, sending man to the moon, and ensuring our nation is secure doesn't have an interest. But in an era of alternative facts and fake news, even that number can be deceiving. The United States Center for Immigration Services explains in October of 2018 that each year 400,000 people live in this country on an H-1B visa. An H-1B visa essentially means that you're in this country to simply work in a STEM position. So we're literally ensuring people are coming from other nations just to work here because we don't have enough Americans working in STEM. So when you put these two facts together, there are 1 million STEM jobs that are left unfilled by Americans. We need to ensure that we're encouraging people to get into this field, because even as a political science major from Florida Atlantic University, I can recognize that it is extremely vital to our nation's future. So the real question we need to ask ourselves is, how do we get here? STEM is not being properly promoted through our education system, and I would argue that's the most important place where it needs to be instilled. Programs like Common Core and Race to the Top reward schools for encouraging STEM, but oftentimes these rewards they're giving in funding is what's necessary to encourage STEM in the first place. Wealthier schools that have the funds to help their students on standardized testing and pursue STEM programs are getting rewarded with more funds. But poorer schools that don't have the resources to do so don't get those rewards. That is a cycle of inequity and inequality. We need to ensure that we're giving the ability to pursue STEM and to give their students opportunities to succeed, not just to wealthy schools, but every single school, because that's the definition of leadership, extending your benefits to everyone, whether or not they support you, whether or not they're rich or poor, no matter the color of their skin. Every American should be supported in their endeavor of STEM. But now that I've told you about my boring facts and figures, let's go to what really interests children: explosions. During the Cold War, America was facing its greatest crisis yet. Our biggest rival, Russia, had the ability to kill millions of people at a time with just one single bomb. Our leaders didn't take a step back or cower in fear at the thought of this. Instead, they had the courage to take a step forward and meet this issue straight on, not through conflict, but through compromise. We were able to ensure that we were innovating and creating the solution to this great crisis, not ensuring that we created a cycle of war and destruction. The leader at the forefront of this was President Kennedy. He set a goal for our entire nation within STEM to solve this problem by landing man on the moon, ensuring America had the ability to go to space just as much as Russia. This founded a cycle of where Americans were able to get benefits whether or not they were even involved in STEM. We came together as a nation, recognizing the importance that this country, when we put our minds to it, can do anything, even in failure. The Apollo missions, after Kennedy's tragic passing, landed man on the moon not just once, but multiple times. But I think the biggest lesson from those missions aren't from when they succeeded, but when they actually didn't meet their goals. Apollo 13 didn't land on the moon, and almost every astronaut died. But the leaders on that mission ensured they would continue their goal of coming back home safely, even when everything around them seemed to be going wrong. That's what America truly is about, ensuring that everyone's safe, even when the world around us seems to be falling apart, putting the pieces back together, and in this case, putting the STEM engine back on track. And that's really impactful for everyone, whether they enjoy STEM or not. NASA, an internal study from 2013 found that technology from NASA, known as NASA Spinoffs, have impacted us in 1,750 different ways, each accounting for, on average, $1 million of economic growth. And if you do the math, which students here like to do, that's a total of $1.75 billion added to this economy, just because of technology in STEM. It's helping the quality of our water all the way to the efficiency of our traffic lights. To be honest, it's saving lives. It's important to remember that STEM doesn't just impact the field of STEM, it impacts us all. And that's why it's so vital we pursue it. So now that I've talked about the past and the present, let's turn to the future. Students right here at the Weiss School, because education is a national priority, but right now it's just a state responsibility. Students at the Weiss School are giving STEM the national attention it needs by not waiting to be told they can do things, but just doing them instead. Students at the Weiss School don't wait to be told they need to wait to get a CUBE satellite into space. They just do it. They don't wait to set debate records. They do it themselves. They ensure that they're the ones leading the forefront, whoopsies, and ensuring that they are creating and innovating the next stage of STEM. We need to follow in their lead and ensure that every student, not just at Weiss, but across the country has the opportunity to do that. Because right now, that's not the case. Students across the country are being disenfranchised just because of the school district they live in, not a product of what they've done themselves. Let's ensure that STEM becomes the national priority it needs to be to give everyone opportunity. If you've taken one thing away from all these speeches you've heard from, I think it's empowering others and overcoming adversity and challenges. Let's give the leaders we have the prerogative to ensure that every student can overcome their challenges and every student can pursue STEM. Thank you.